I'm up here checking cables, clicking buttons.
Nah, it just for some
Hey.
reason. What's up? We're back on Facebook if you're
Oh,
watching.
shucks.
Um,
Oh, it wasn't me.
nah, it
See?
just kicked
See?
out.
Hold on. I'll be right back. See?
Got kicked right out. I don't know if my
I
internet, Facebook liked me or what.
Oh, okay. Look, I went out and I was like, and then I was trying to get back in, and I was like, well, maybe the Wi-Fi is tripping here. So I ran to get my charger to plug it to plug my phone up to get more charge so I can go to Wi-Fi on
Right?
my phone. So that's why I was missing. I was like, oh shoot, I dropped out.
No, I'm trying to
Anyway,
figure out what's going on over here.
I'm
Um,
like, But anyway, I was saying once I seen the name, I think that's where I left off. But once I seen the name Seth MacFarlane, I knew that I don't watch his shows. I don't watch Family Guy, Ted. I don't like all of that stuff. So I'm not the audience for it. So I was like, cool. So when I seen him attached, I was like, yeah. But yeah, J2 watched it. I call him J2 because my daughter's Jalen too, but Jalen one. But once I watched it, the trailer, I was like, yeah, I'm good. But I was gonna say the reason why the show ended. I read an article a long time ago, some
mhm.
years ago, and it ended because she said that she was tired of them never getting out the ghetto, and that James and JJ could never catch a break to get out the ghetto, and it was just like just a show about them in the ghetto, and she was
Right.
like, you know what? That's where the disagreement came in with them, and that's why the show actually ended
Mm.
because they didn't want to move them out the ghetto, so
Right.
they
And,
rather,
and
yeah.
and people move up. Like when people fight hard enough and they do work together, progress has to happen. Like I get it, temporary layoffs, good time. Can't we lucky we got good time? I get the whole premise of the song, but let's just be real. Like sometimes we're treated as black people that we can't constantly move up,
Mm-hmm.
and even society focuses on when it comes to us at the most the struggle. Music struggle, movies struggle, but they never show us moving. Well, I'm not gonna say they never.
Mm-hmm.
Rarely do they want to show us moving up.
Mm-hmm.
We've all come from hard times and hard situations, but we're not stuck where we were. I remember I was in a situation of basically being homeless. And yet I fought hard, I worked hard, I grind. I started my own business because of that, because I didn't want to rely on someone else's paycheck at the time, because that's what was the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I still could have lost my home. I didn't lose my first house I bought until I didn't lose it. I ended up selling it
Come
years
on.
late, like years later. So, but I was out of that came me making a movie, me making other short films and doing all this out of that struggle, because sometimes us falling down is somebody once said, a setback is a setup for a come up.
Hmm.
And sometimes I didn't look at my setback as that's it. I'm never going to do this again. I quit. No, it means grind harder, hustle harder. And so what I feel about good times is when you keep setting people back, but you never show them moving up, that becomes a little problem. And then so that's where also with this current show is the problem, because now you show generations
Mm.
grandson in the same place
Hmm.
as his grandfather and father was, and yet they were supposed to have moved up.
That's pitiful.
So I get if it was a totally different show, I can work with it a little bit as a rehash of an original piece. And let's just talk about the elephant in the room sometimes. Norman Lear suppose he took that show and other shows from another writer. and to and
It ain't
didn't give him credit.
supposedly. It's been proven.
Right.
It
I'm
ain't
just
Oh,
saying.
really?
supposedly.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
It has been proven. Okay.
So at the end of the day, why do we need to rehash that? If it did some good at its time. Everything in its past does some sort of good at some point. Not every single thing, but the things that we've benefited from, right? But they could still be attached to a negative or something else. So why do we need to reconnect to that and rehash it when we can now show growth and move forward?
Absolutely.
You get what I'm saying? I would
Well,
love
here's
for
the
them to
thing.
redo a different
Let's
world
be
in a
honest.
different way.
The black struggle has been economically viable and entertaining
Mm-hmm.
for a lot of people, It,
Mm.
whites and blacks alike, right? And
Right.
so, and so, for some people, the ideal of it is to sit from the outside to look at what's going on in the black neighborhood, and for the other people, it's to tell the story of what goes on in the black neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
But the issue is they're creating a monolithic idea of what black is in America.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem that we deal with, is this idea and stereotypes of black images that are based upon the black struggle, whether it be the drug dealer, the hardworking single mama, the dad who can't catch a break, the hotep, and
Mm-hmm.
so when you sit and have these conversations, you have to understand that all aspects of the black struggle or trauma entertainment um, has been economically viable. When you look at movies, how many slave or escaped slave or black people in trouble movies win, and even people make them like Lena Waithe with the Shy
Mm-hmm.
and her stuff, and we love her. I don't got no beef, but that's still black trauma. It's
Yeah.
all
I
inner
mean,
Yeah.
city,
that's
right?
Yep.
What is the
that's
other movie she made about the black guy and the girl, like Bonnie and Clyde?
Queen and Slim.
mm-hmm.
Queen and Slim. And people are enamored, even our people are enamored with black trauma.
And you know
You.
what? Queen and Slim. I like the premise. Now that happened way back, so we can. If you haven't seen it, I'm going to say what
I haven't
spoiler
seen
alert,
it.
bottom line, because it's been way beyond. I didn't like the way it ended. A lot of our films end without any. When you're dealing with police brutality or how society's mistreating us, they always end with the negative. Okay, they end with the people getting killed. It's like the one where Nate Parker goes into the police station, takes it over, and because a
Mm-hmm.
cop shot his son, and the
American
way it
Fiction.
ends, yeah,
I mean American. Dang, it's close. I put.
yeah, I
Go
know
ahead.
it's always sitting right there.
It's American.
But
Yep.
he he um he goes in police station, takes it over
Mm-hmm.
because they killed his son, and he's asking the cop, why did you do this, da da da, all this stuff. And it ends the way you predict it to end, in a negative way. It's like we can never
He let him
show
go.
him getting
Yeah.
free or surviving. They have to die. And that's every movie like that, pretty much. There's one I saw, Breaking, right? And I can tell you who's in it. My brain, I got so much happening. But bottom line, we create these tropes. American Skin is the one with Nate Parker.
American Skin. Yeah, I just looked it up. American Skin. I knew it was American something. Mm-hmm.
And because I bought these movies. So the one thing I do is I buy movies, and a lot of independent black films I buy. Like Black and Blue, I think was different. I think she did survive.
Yeah,
At
she
the
did
end.
survive, and she came out on top. I did like that. She
Breaking,
came out on top.
Breaking had John Boyega and Nicole Bahari, and does Boyega survive at the end? Like it's kind of it for me. Sometimes we can have a good cause, but can we have a happy ending? Can we get
Yes.
the happy ending? And I get the trauma or they get, it has to happen to make us think. but it's also a subconscious, like you'll never get past this cap. Like even when you fight, you won't get past this. We'll still come get you, and it has to be feel like it has to be written into our films by our
Well, my,
own.
I hear you, but like that's how they feel. You know, that's sometimes the emotion of the writers and a community and its zeitgeist that we're only going to get to a certain point or level of success, right?
Right.
And Obama was supposed to have broken the glass ceiling, but we find they repaired that sucker. But anyway, I think the thing is here's the part that's interesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
When we look at society as a whole and they tell their stories, the diversity of white projects, right? You can go from the Notebook, right,
Mm-hmm.
to Everybody Knows Earl, right? So you got the white trash in the corner, right? And then
Right.
you got Dallas, right? And everything in between. The black community is not seen to have that in America.
But
We
is it
They
do
our fault?
not.
they don't want to see it on the screen. Like you
Well,
said,
see,
they
here's
want to
the
see
thing, right?
I don't.
particular stuff.
But
It's
here's a.
it's
I
it's
have a
wait,
twofold
hold on.
problem. But go ahead.
It's not our fault in a sense, right? There is some culpability. We have to take accountability for the stories we tell, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you telling people get this money. What's being greenlit? And the most creative, and I'm used that loosely, but the people who are coming out with the most amount of stories are the people who came from those areas, and they say they're telling their stories. Now here's a problem. Here's a problem, and this is a long thing, and I have my own little project to write this little essay. But
Mm-hmm.
what I want you to realize is like, no, people have confused. Like, there's a book, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's called is it the lamp or the mirror or the lamp?
The book.
Yes, the book is called The Mirror or the Lamp,
Oh,
and it
okay.
talks about art. How do we critique art, right?
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, the art, or they said at one point, art was critiqued like a mirror. How real is it? Is it an exact reproduction of real life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it a lamp, which means does it show the light? Does it show a light into the artist's true spirit or the artist's heart,
Hmm.
right? And so the problem with all of that is that how people see the world is always injected with their perspectives
Right.
or their influences or their trauma. So nothing is sometimes either or authentically, and also how we judge art. And so that comes down to, and I don't want to get too deep or too left field in that, is how these people telling their story, they're representing as they're a reflection of what's going on in the world,
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
right? When it's really not a true reflection, it's always a reflection hindered by their experiences, right? Or are some of these artists representing what they think the world is,
Mm.
you know? And
Okay.
so as we deal with that, most of our people fall in love with what they think black life is like, this monolith of black life. Like Mike, how we're telling Mike he's an anomaly at times with situation, not necessarily having a two-parent home, but how he was raised, right?
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
I grew up and I could relate to the negative side of good times. Like I could relate to the repair people coming to the house, to living in the projects, and everybody's house looking exactly the same, and my mama taking care of the next door neighbor, or the next door neighbor taking care of us, or splitting for everybody in the house buying a bag of wings and everybody get 3 wings and some rice, right? All of those things, or
Hmm.
Kool-Aid, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
and so when you talk about those things, now when I tell those stories, it might be a little exaggerated, right? Because of my perspective, my recollection, and my emotion. And I think sometimes our love with the idea of those things is what creates. Because most of the people, like we always knew those kids, and you might not have been one of them, Mike, but we always knew that kid who lived in the suburbs that wanted to spend more time in the city because he thought that was cool. And black
I
urban,
went like for me, and this is the thing. My parents were. My dad was from D.C. Southeast. My mom was
mhm,
from McGregor, Texas. So I had a city person and a country person. We went to both areas. We spent more time with our grandparents. My parents wanted better for us than they had, and they reminded us. It's not. It wasn't like they didn't struggle or anything. It's that they constantly worked hard to do better. And
But
they
Mike, I'm gonna say
attributed to
this
being
real
in the
quick. I don't
military,
mean to
right?
interrupt you, right?
Nah, go
But
ahead.
name one parent who doesn't want their kid to be better.
I
Circumstances and all these other
But
things
here's the thing. I can't
occur.
say that. Here's what I'm gonna say. I can't say that every parent wants better for their kids. I can say that I've seen and encountered some parents who want to live through their kids, some parents who are
Mm-hmm.
jealous of their kids, and some parents who
Mm-hmm.
want the best for their kids. And there's different facets of different people's in
Well,
situations.
now I don't want to get into a philosophical
Right.
debate, but I would like to
Oh
say
yeah,
this:
yeah. No, no, it's not.
most parents want their kids to do better. Now, if other things naturally evolve in that, like the ones who are living vicariously through them, still want their kids to be better than them in a way. Some
Mhm.
have their own other issues with their upbringing, but when a kid is born and brought into this life, they want their kids to have success and be great.
Yeah.
Right? Now, do they have the tools and faculties? But so let me bring that back. When you bring that back, black trauma is cool. When you talk about
Mhm.
rap music,
Right.
how it's devolved into only being trauma music, right? When you talk about black movies, how they always taught about what was going on, but it is that perspective that permeates all of the other stuff. Like when you talk about when you go to black exploitation, right?
Mhm.
That's not the rich side of black life. When you
Right.
talk about even the movies, you go back to shucks, James Earl Jones and what was it called? When the woman was living on
Oh,
welfare,
Claudine. Claudine.
Claudine.
Claudine,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
That's not the rich side of black life,
Right.
right?
No, I mean
So
I get it. And
so
I'm not saying we need to show the rich side of black life. But here's the thing. And this is I think that we've been taught to romanticize our struggles to where even someone in the middle class, I've seen kids go, "Oh yeah, it's hard." So I'm like, "Yo man, can you stop watching BET for real cuz like everybody don't live like that. Everybody isn't dealing with that." But it's like and that becomes our trope for us because um we're various. Like I'm not rich. I struggle. I've gone through stuff, but I work hard and I also don't let someone tell me no.
yeah, but
Like in a manner of if I said I want to make a movie, somebody go, "Well, you got to have my permission." No, I don't. I can buy a camera, I go shoot what I want if I connect
well,
with the
Mike,
right
that is
people.
a whole different
Right.
mentality, which we always say that you've been blessed to have some of those things. What I'm saying to you, and to get back to the whole filmmaking thing is,
Mhm.
and this when you look at the numbers, more black people live under the poverty line than live above it.
Right.
Way more. And then when you think of the minority of the smaller number of us in America compared to the larger number, right? So those aspects of us, most of us live in large cities. Most of us live under the poverty line. So because we have such a large number of people who are living in those experiences, they're telling their experiences. The sad part is they're telling the most of the trauma of it. Because even in the projects, living poor, and that's what Good Time highlighted. My
Mhm.
sister sat on the porch and did hair, and all black girls can live, not just the projects. 90% of black females can think about sitting on the stoop doing hair while girls were doing double dutch. If you live in my area,
Mm-hmm.
and the
Mm-hmm.
pleasantry about it. That's why when you look at movies like Inglewood. What was it called? And when they were in Inglewood,
Um
The wood.
yeah,
the Wood,
the wood.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Those more stories like those that we all grew up. Like I can talk
Right.
about the high school parties and being in
Yeah,
a
we could
band in a
connect to
black
the
high
wood. We
school.
could connect to house party. We could connect to, and I think
Yes.
those were the
Yes,
because everybody we've all have coming of age. We've all gone through something, And I get, like I said, I don't ever have
but
a
those
problem
aren't
with the
the.
struggle.
Now here's the fun. I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna leave this go. Those
Mhm.
aren't the people that are normally making movies. Those are the people that are the people who can relate to those are normally the people who are the engineers who have done some of these other things in the mid level. These people grinding and trying to figure out a way, want their story told, and they're the ones who are starting the movie comes. Like I'm in Philly. There's
Mhm.
a few people, like the person I make movies with, Atif Lanier, shout out to him. Like he's the one, like Swing and Computer Love and all these other things. That's what he makes. But then there's another section that aren't the rappers, but are making these same movies about their life, and it's more of them than it is of the Latif Laniers,
Mm-hmm.
right? The other
Mhm.
ones go out and they become part of the movie industry, but they're not always the writer, or they can't get their story out, right? Or they become like, even when you talk about me, right? My stories aren't like that, but I got a teaching job because I was lucky enough to go in another direction for a minute, and I got kind of comfortable. So there until now, right? And so I think what we need to do is bring in more of those filmmakers who tell those stories instead of excommunicating in a way, or talking about those filmmakers who those are their only stories to them.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm not going to go with this proximity to whiteness. It's just that survival. Like I hear and what we got to stop doing is everything that a black person finds to survive is about blackness or whiteness, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
Right?
It's
I'm a teacher. I've been teaching 20 some years, and I haven't told my stories or anything because and I'm just getting back into it, and I'm probably the angriest pro black guy in here, but
I
trying
don't
to
know
figure
about
out because
that. But yeah, go
because as we operate, people are trying to figure out things and so many things. If I
Right.
if I assimilate per se into white culture, right? It's what that doesn't eliminate my blackness. That's how I carry myself and look at what I think, regardless of
Mhm.
what culture you want to tie it to, is appropriate. That doesn't mean if somebody wants to wear a dashiki and get dreads and put on oils that they're more black than me,
No,
mm-hmm.
right?
I don't
But
think you
when we
can.
start having these conversations, I know you, but I was
Yeah.
commenting on somebody mentioned it's because it's not what it has to do with.
Oh,
A lot of times
proximity
it's
of whiteness.
survival,
That is
Yeah.
Dr.
education,
Jones. Uh-huh.
and
Dr. Jones.
experiences, right?
Yeah.
And so when people have certain experiences, they're surviving, and they make decisions whether we like it or not about make what movies to make. And then the people a lot of times that are making some of these mid-range movies or black middle class movies, right? People aren't
Mhm.
watching. People don't want to watch them. They want to see us kill each other. And when I say people, it don't mean us. It
But
means
I
all the
think
other people around us.
but I think we do watch because you got to think about things like a Love Jones um or The Wood or The Best Man, and because we are telling those stories, Girls Trip, those weren't struggling people or women. The Best Men, those guys were all successful in their own way, and people love those movies. I think that it's really connecting to, we're people, and we're multifaceted, and we can't just tell one side of developing
Absolutely.
a story.
I
uh
agree.
and because I enjoy those movies, I enjoy a lot of movies. I i have
But
all
those people
spectrums
got
of
to tell
black
them.
people in my family. You know what I mean?
Those
Like,
But those people got to tell them what most people feel pertinent is to call out the struggle, to call out police brutality, to call out the man, to call out the system, to talk about the gutter or re-emulate Scarface. Like how many black movies are emulations of Scarface to some extent,
right.
right? Those are the things that have captivated the zeitgeist of the black community at the certain part aspects of it, right?
And
When you talk about the best man, when you talk, those are the elite movies, right? Those are the best of black middle class movies per se. But
okay.
Yes.
there's a whole nother group that people don't watch. When you
Mm.
like Computer Love, I think it's about online dating like even when you talk about the um best man, what is the basketball one?
Oh, Love and Basketball.
Love and
Love and
basketball.
basketball.
Yeah.
They're about
one,
Division
one of
One
my favorite
basketball
movies.
players, right?
Mhm.
How many Division One basketball players meet their girlfriend in college? That's even though there's a lot of black Division One basketball players, right? That's still a small number when you talk about black people. When you talk about Wood, not the Wood, the best man, they're all super successful. They're not teachers, they're not trash men, they're super successful. And so that's the thing that made rock, good times. That's my mama.
Mhm.
Um, those are the things, even Brandy, those are the things that made them relatable to us,
Yeah,
right?
Mm-hmm.
like I
Right?
think about the shows I liked. right? I used to watch What's
Mm-hmm.
Happening all the time. The
Yeah.
Jeffersons, right? There's a show called Carter Country. Then you had 222 or
227.
227. No, you had Room 222 and you had 227.
Oh, okay,
Um,
okay.
you got we watched Welcome Back Carter. Um,
Welcome back, Carter. Mhm.
and I'm not saying it's a black show, but it had characters, people we connected to.
Yeah.
Because I remember Cochise was on it, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that's my boy. I liked Cooley High. I related to Cooley High. That's actually one of my favorite
That's your
movies.
movie, yeah.
Like, I Purple Rain, Cooley High. If you know me, Purple Rain, Cooley High, Empire Strikes Back. Look, so in Uptown, let's do it again in Uptown Saturday Night. But I like certain things. Okay. Now, I was raised with opportunities and exposure to a lot of different things because my parents believe in exposure. But and so did a lot of other parents believe in exposure. I remember Jamal and I talking. His parents became from Philly and Atlanta, and they believed in the each one teach one. That's the mentality of all of our parents from that time period. And you could come to my house. There was a black library of books in our house. We read Roots. I met Alex Haley. Got his
wow.
autograph. So it's like opportunity was there. Did my parents have my parents for a long time had nothing but high school diplomas. But the thing they said to us was, you got to do better than us. And if it wasn't for what was afforded to them, and that's the thing I want to see about us, is that's why I say on here a lot that we should be filming our families. We should be telling our stories because no one can take that away from us. And those things can inspire us. It's what happens when our struggle is romanticized, not necessarily by us, but by others, which funds those stories to get made more. That becomes the problem. It's like, if people romanticize The Godfather, which people did, you get more of those types of movies made, and Italians are like, "Oh, that's not us. It's not all of us. It's not every Italian." And so we have to think differently. And I guess we're in for me, we're in a stage of no one dictates the green light no more. They're struggling trying to figure out how to keep us in that box. They can't do it to the music industry no more. They're struggling trying to figure out ways to trap them.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I think like there are those movies out there. Here's the thing: what people misunderstand, even about music today, right? Music that is controlled by the masses is always black trauma filled per se, right?
Yeah.
But there's so much music out there that people literally have their own lanes of each old genre of hip hop. Like there's music that kids listen to that is rock rap only. And there's a million artists, right? So they don't even have to listen to the other stuff, right? And I don't want to call it negative because that's a perspective.
Right.
Then there's like techno rap. There's all these other genres of rap, but it's not what's on the radio. So people assume, especially old folks like us, that the only rap out there is what's on the radio or what's on
It's
TV.
trap music.
Is what's popular. Is what's deemed popular in America. But
that's why they call it radio
music,
and TV programming.
right.
Yeah.
Right. And so now as we sit, there is a lot of movies out there, and people hate Tubi, but it gives some of those movies out there. And I'm still going to say some of the most ingenious or people with the most ingenuity are the ones that build these things from literally nothing. Grab their homie, go get a handy, still shooting with an 8mm or something just to get their story told, and they find out to get it on Tubi, and now we're criticizing the only platform that they even understand. Like I got it, and I hope my friend, if he watches this, doesn't get mad. I got a friend doesn't use. He's a handyman, painter, and he has all these ideas. He came up to create his own idea. I can't call out what his idea is.
Okay.
Right. And he calls me and asks me that he's going to do a Zoom on the easel. Right. Think about this. The only thing he knew was to get the little piece of paper with the easel
Mm-hmm.
on there, but he's going to hustle his idea and show it to people with a tablet that you could tear the papers off. Not even doing PowerPoint and thinking that PowerPoint would be a better.
Oh
He
wow.
just doesn't use it.
Mm-hmm.
But he's ingenious. He's going to get his idea to the masses no matter what anybody says or
That's what.
whatever his limits
Yes,
are, anything. And
absolutely.
I am proud of him. I helped him. So I helped him, but I'm proud of
Mm-hmm.
him on that. So when we got to understand that sometimes when we make these assertions that we alienate some people who are just hustling to get a story out and they're just trying to get that. Now what we have to do is get more filmmakers because like if you sit back, how many kids do we have right now? If you look at middle class people, we're not telling our kids to be storytellers, digital media artists or anything. Go out and go to college and be an engineer, be a doctor, be a lawyer, be this, be that, blah blah blah, right? And so some of the kids that are finding their way to digital media, right? And I'm gonna say digital media because it's more than just filmmaking,
Right.
content creation,
No,
right?
yeah, we
Are
both
those
teach.
kids
Yeah.
who see it as a way out, just like they see sport, or they see it as an avenue to tell their stories, just like they see sport.
Mm-hmm.
And so now, how do we nurture and create and give them those opportunities? Because they're not getting opportunities or experiences to see these other things or to understand that dope. Because they see, like, just like some people are rapping about, some of these kids ain't even had a gun or a piece of drug, but they're rapping about guns and drugs because that's what
It's popular.
sells.
Yeah, that's what it
And
says.
that's
It's
That's what it
popular.
says.
and that's what the media has shown them. So now, like, I think that when we have these discussions, we have to have the understanding that there are a lot of people who haven't had those experiences, and we have to get that. And some of the kids with the most pain from trauma need to get their story out because it's therapy for them, and they found peace in that stuff. You
Oh,
That's
know,
I
and
good.
so
I never have a problem with people telling their stories.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I my issue is when we let mainstream take over, and that's the only stories they want to let us tell.
but they're going to every. Go ahead,
Yeah,
TK. I'm sorry.
and that yeah.
I'm like, I ain't talked for 30 minutes. I'm
My
I'm
like,
bad,
sorry,
TK. Go
TK.
ahead, sis.
I know, y'all. That's fine. That's fine. But I wanted to. That is Dr. Jones when he was talking about the issue with the mid movies, and
Mm-hmm.
what it made me think of because we do like all every race, everybody has different facets of their stories: the good, the bad, the ugly. You know, every experience is there. But like you guys were saying, it's like they only so many people want to receive the traumatic stuff from us, and that's including our own people. That's why
Mm-hmm.
reality shows, that's why drama sells. But one of the things that like Best Man, The Wood, like when Best Man came out, thank goodness it was attached to a franchise of people or an audience that kept it going, and it helped made it successful because like you said, all of those people were successful. But one of my biggest gripes is when I seen fantasy football when Marseille
Mari
Martin
Hardwick.
and Amari what's Hart is his
Hardwick.
last name Hardwick, yeah, Amari Hardwick, and I saw what Rotten Tomatoes gave it. Not that we go off Rotten Tomatoes and all that stuff, but it was just the point. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, it was a movie about a young girl who was a STEM kid and her dad more than anything.
Yeah.
And when Rotten Tomatoes gave it that rating, I was like, okay, because what she should have moonlighted as a stripper at 16 and then y'all would have loved it. You know what I mean? It's crazy to me that it's like when we do put these type of movies out, it's hard for them to be received, especially by the younger audience. So when Uncorked came out, I'm reminded right now, but when Uncorked came out, nobody in there we knew except for Courtney B. Vance and Niecy Nash.
Mm-hmm.
And they were in there for their limited time. And that movie did so well on Netflix. And I was so happy, but
Me, Amazon. But yeah.
it showed, like you said, the working class family, but they were not in a struggle other than her health.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't seen it, if you
Uncorked was
have not,
good.
if
Like it
Uncorked was
exposed me to
so
something I didn't think about. You know, the sommelier. Like I had no idea, right? And the
Yeah,
rarity of it. And so I
yes.
like stuff like that because it sparked an interest into something different and unique for me. Right?
Mhm.
yeah. But that's
And it did well, but then they will, and that's why, you know, we always talk about the definition of success, and my definition has always been me being successful is me being obedient and being sacrificial to what I've been
Mm.
called to do. And at the same time, if one life is changed, then I know all of that is success for me. But
Now,
to see that film do well, I was so happy because I was like, I'm so tired, like you said, of the traumatic films and the drama just selling. It's like just have a good movie. Like him and his girlfriend didn't have a whole bunch of drama, other than they had their little spat, but it wasn't a whole bunch of negative drama, and it
yeah,
did well. But we can't preach to the masses, to Hollywood, quote unquote. Look, this did well. Yeah, we saw it got 10 million views, but it's still a flop. We don't know how to market black film. We still get all of that. And that's
Right.
why, that's what I love about us. That's what I love about our group. That's what I love about all the people that God has placed around me, is that we don't look at that. We don't put ourselves, like, we don't try to categorize ourselves to appeal.
Mhm.
Everybody around me, everybody is like, I'm gonna do this. This is what I've been given. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna put it out there. This is what we're gonna do. It's not like I wonder how this is gonna appeal to Hollywood. So that's what I love about this group. I love about everybody is we're not doing that, and that's good. We're writing what we've been given. God gives us a
Mhm.
movie. We write it. We get it done. We do whatever we do it. We don't appeal to that, and so that's what I love about Thomas. Thomas, creating his film festival in society, and Michael creating the Black Filmmakers Lounge, and everybody else that has created something to nurture, because these all tell us we don't have to fit in.
Right.
We are our own people. We're our own entity. We don't have to fit in. We can do what we're being led to do and not feel bad because it doesn't fit in to the Hollywood mold.
well,
Amen.
th- I agree. Now, Ashe, sister. But what I feel like everything you said, but we're missing the whole point when we reinforce certain things, but then have issues with others, right? Mike
Mhm.
is famous for saying it's the film what?
Industry. It's film
No,
business.
no, you don't, Mike. I'm a karate chop you. You say it's the film,
What, business?
yes,
Yeah, it's
right?
business.
So then when we know business, Hollywood is marketing to the largest number of people to make the largest number of dollars,
No, I
right?
Mm-hmm.
get that. Yeah.
Right.
I
So
listen,
we
I'm all
can't
about business, but I
hold
understand
on,
that. But
hold
go
on,
ahead.
hold on.
Go
So
ahead.
we can't expect any place in Hollywood to focus on us. And I don't think it's because like this word, it don't always have to be, well, I don't want it to be black. We're really a minority, a large minority in a lot of places. Unless Kevin Hart crosses over, he's not selling movies in Montana,
Mhm.
right? Unless Kevin Hart crosses over, he's not selling movies in North Dakota, South Dakota, large parts of Colorado. Like if you look at Pennsylvania, right? There's two cities, and then there's Pennsylvania in the middle, right?
Right?
Right. So
Yeah.
we have to be honest about that. And so when we start working on our companies, our niche, and our stories, our niches are us,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
and focus on that and not worry about what other people are trying to do because other people are, like you said, it's the film business. Hollywood
Mm-hmm.
has its business to a science, right? And they
Mhm.
understand what movies sell, so what, and they take risks on other movies. And so when you got a black artist like a Kevin Hart, he's making a million movies, and even though he's black a lot, he's really trying to establish himself as almost like The Rock,
Right.
Mm.
right?
Or Will
And
Smith, The Rock. Yeah, along those
yeah,
lines.
now he's worse than Will Smith. He's further left than Will Smith, right? Like his he like if you look at his movies, and some are good, some are bad,
Mhm.
right? But you know, a lot of us aren't going to be able to do that. If you're going to be blackety black, you got to understand you got a small niche.
I'll say this because I always go to Nollywood and Bollywood. I look at those two industries, and I look at Black America when it comes to filmmaking. That if we continue to just make films and improve in our quality of storytelling and tell the most multifaceted stories, we'll gain international success. The problem is, and this is our mentality, okay? We keep going to Hollywood. We keep asking for green lights. We keep asking. That has always been my issue. I don't ask because you don't have to ask. You and I and Lewis sat yesterday talking about the DJI, about buying one and how much it costs. We were breaking down the price and we were looking at, well, what I'm gonna sell to get this or what I'm gonna do to get this. We were thinking about hustling to get, and we all like, we're gonna pick one up. Lewis gets his earlier, but we all like, we're gonna do this. That's the pocket of us that needs to be in those small circles of connecting and saying, hey, we can do this and this to do this. And we don't have to wait. We like we said earlier this year when we came back, we got to leverage Tubi. We don't get trapped by Tubi. We leverage Tubi. We should be leveraging everything to the point that it helps us expand and build the platforms. But also we got to, and this is where I stand on, hate to say this, stand on business. We have to understand the business, because when I talk to our platforms, sometimes they're like, I want your movie, but I can't pay you. I'm like, I spent money to make a movie. You got to come with something. Well, I can't find the money. What you mean you can't find the money? How I found the money to make my film is how you need to find the money to get my film on your platform. It's like, and that's the mentality. I'm not saying, and so I'm not dumping on any platform. What I'm saying is we have to change how we operate, because if I can't pay my actors or I can't pay TK, I'm sure TK wouldn't be sitting here right now if I was, well, no, we friends. But I'm saying, when I talk to TK, I negotiated and I pay TK.
I got you.
When I called you, think about it, when I called you, what's the first thing I said to you?
I agree with you. But let's go back to the platforms real quick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Because I love this discussion. I'm gonna go back to your Nollywood and Bollywood.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're comparing apples and oranges.
Okay.
Right? Because Nollywood in Nigeria is a government and a whole group of people that look like each other, that, and whether it gets government support or help, they all look like each other, and Nollywood are all the same. Right? Bollywood, same group of people, all the same. They're making movies for people right there. Nigeria, Nollywood is making people for Nigeria and Nollywood. They've only grown because other people have now accepted them. Bollywood used to be horrible.
That's
movies.
what I'm saying. Okay.
But the difference is, if we were in a place that was all black, it'd be easier because we didn't have to worry about marketing or selling or all these things to other people. Even if we don't, like when you're talking about,
I got you.
Okay.
Right. And because when you look at Hollywood is built upon selling people to, like, America. Here's the thing about America that people want to argue. America is extremely diverse, culturally, ethnically, and all this. And then I can get into a whole bunch of political things about a lot of the immigrants, the accepted immigrants, but I don't, because I don't want to be canceled. But anyway, we as a people got to understand that, and it's not necessarily mindset, could be a people mindset. That group, like a lot of these startups that we're talking about, platforms, don't have money, white, black, or otherwise.
Okay.
You're talking about a lot of these startups where people are being funded by other people's money and have a leg up on how the business is run, or they're connected to other people in the business. Tubi is connected to people already in the business with a bunch of money, right? And so now as we move and we go, but the black, like, I'm gonna go back to Carter. It is a large process, but everybody doesn't have the same motives. Everybody's outcomes aren't the same. That's what Mike talks about all the time. Some people get in there just want to sell, and pitch, and push their own stuff. They're not in there to be a collective. And then some people don't got the money.
Right.
And so as we look and we continue to build, I'm saying we, meaning Artist Square, was in here, and the people connected to us like Thomas, have to create, build, and connect. Because if we worry about everybody outside our circle, we're almost spitting at a wall and seeing what sticks, right? When we need to continue to grow, continue to build, continue to create, and put stuff out, and people will come. But when we sit and we talk about it, and we're not doing it, then we're not putting those things that we talk about into action. And now we're just Fox News.
Well, and here's the thing, because I look at it like this, because I was, as we were talking, right? Because I sent you guys those grant things this morning, right? And because I know you're working on a project now,
Yeah.
right? And I was like, all right, let me tell my people what's out there, right? If I get it, I share it. And I was like, what if that was a whole bigger project? Because when you take from, and everything stems from something, because last time we talked about Freaknik, right, as a documentary. And a lot of people didn't know that Freaknik was started by HBU students, especially the DC Metro students in Atlanta, right? They didn't know that. They didn't know that there were Greeks involved in that. So they didn't know about the HBCU and the Greeks, because what Freaknik became is what a lot of people were more remembered.
It became commercialized.
Right.
A version of Hollywood bought it. No.
Yeah. And so, or the music industry. So, but have we begin to tell the actual stories of us? And because I've attended 2 HBCUs. I went to Morgan State University and Bowie State University. And he went to Cheney. And so that experience, but that for me came from watching a different world. Like, yo, I want to go to HBCU. No matter what I do, I'm going to at least attend one HBCU. I ended up attending a 2. But I'm just saying, that's what I said. And I think that exposure helps, right? When we create that, we can't leave it up to Cosby, because now if more young people are more exposed, now we got more exposed to HBCUs because I was part of the BSAP, Black Student Achievement Program. They took us to different colleges, mostly the black schools, right? So we can be on the campus, walk the campus, talk to people, ask questions. And that's how I feel about movies. The more we make movies that expose our own people to information and insight, it doesn't have to be the whole story, but if it's within the story, somewhere, somehow, it changes things. Now, our circle of filmmakers, we get to leverage things if we come together and talk to each other and be like, yo, I'm making a horror movie. Hey, yo, would you like to throw this piece into your horror movie? Like, oh, how would it fit? Oh, let's think of a way we can gauge this. All right. So we threw a financial literacy piece into a thriller, right? What if somebody didn't know? I watched the movie. I did watch a movie, but I told you guys about it, where the kid, his mother dies, his family's really poor. He goes work for this rich guy, and he ends up getting this money from a lottery ticket, and he buys the rich guy a cell phone. Now, this is a Stephen King story that was adapted for Netflix. And the guy reaches from the grave through the cell phone talking to the kid, doing stuff.
Okay. Ooh, that sounds good, but oof.
But it
Don't do
was
that. I won't
good.
answer my cell phone for a week.
But it was good. It was I actually liked the movie. I was like, wow, this is kind of interesting. And what sparked me was I was watching YouTube and somebody was starting to do a recap, and I paused the recap and said, what movie is this? And I went and watched the movie. So that's how we could be. Listen, I think of the Black Filmmakers Lounge reaching heights with filmmakers. But one of the biggest things I wanted filmmakers to do was to come on here and talk about their films. But more than talking about their films, I wanted them to talk about their journey and experience, because there's a lot of people trying to become filmmakers or who are filmmakers who don't know what they've gone through. I learned a lot more business when I made a film. The creative side, I can paint, I can draw, I can come up, I can be creative. The business part is what I learned making my first film. I learned to get my contracts. I learned to have this sign and that sign. But I also learned what I didn't know in business. And so when I collaborate, when I talk to Jacoby or I talk to TK and I say, y'all got this movie idea because it came from a dream. Like I had one that came from a dream last night. That, I have dreams, and I'd be like, yo, dreams
Well, let's
are,
make them. Like we got to
and
start
that's
making
why
them.
I have a lot of scripts, and so, but we got to connect with people, and it's not just connecting. What I mean by connecting, and I've said this before, people are always like, let's build a platform, build a platform. There's so many independent platforms out there. The problem I say with them is this: they're always complaining how they don't have the money to get the movies. Well, build. How about all of y'all take your finances and build one platform, and then take the rest of the money to pay the filmmakers to license their films and leverage that platform.
Yeah,
Do what
and that's
because
and that's always the interesting part. It's easy to say, but you getting personalities in one vision. That's the hard part, is getting those personalities in one vision to come together to create. Because it's easy to say to build, but even though they have the money, because look at, if you got Marvel and DC came together, they would be the greatest, right? But that ain't happening.
But you got to have, I understand healthy competition, but I've seen a lot of independent platforms try to trash other known black platforms. Like Bounce TV is black, Aspire is black, TV One is black, All Black is black. Like, I try to sit back and tell people, oh, yo, but y'all sitting here, oh, we the only black platform. No, you're not. I do my research before I run my mouth. Like I'm just saying, before I run my mouth, I've done some research. Even doing the research, I don't really run my mouth all the time.
But sometimes that's shady, and it's competition, so it's shade. You know that.
I get it, but I'm like, don't be the thing that bothers me with independent platforms, or any, is the dishonesty or the shadiness or the get over mentality.
But
because if I
hold
said
on, some
somebody,
of it's competition though. Like you look at ABC and NBC, they're shady all the time.
No, I'm not talking about to each other. I'm talking about to the filmmaker. I'm saying when they come, they go, hey, like I remember somebody told me, hey, we'll run your movie, and you got to pay us. I said, no. What do you mean? What do your subscribers pay you? Well, we don't have subscribers that pay. Okay, so how do you make your money? Off of advertising. Okay, so you pay me portion of advertising. You put that in the contract, and then I see an advertisement pop up on my stuff. I need part of that check. Now
I gotta run, but here's my only thing I say to you, Mike. You keep forgetting that that's the entertainment business, right? They've been ruining artists, taking money from artists.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just black. Like that's what people got to stop.
No,
like
it's not just black. I'm not saying that.
It's the entertainment industry, right? Is that now? You know how you know who you sound like to me all the time?
Who?
Master P talking about when they tried to get him signed to a label, right? He was one of the few. And Mike, you got to accept that at some point, right? Even though it's your frustration, that's the part you got to accept, right? And the business part of an aspect, because as you talk about it and explain your discontentment, right? You got to understand that that's the entertainment business, because most of these entertainers, filmmakers, record label makers, actors don't come with their business together. So they're setting you up because they already know what it is. And the people who stand on business are the ones a lot of times who survive a little bit longer or are alienated. We talk about it all the time. They talk.
No, I don't have a problem.
I wouldn't let the industry do this and this to me. That's why they blackballed me. Correct? So now let's stand on business and make some movies. I gotta run though, party people.
Oh yeah, he has to go. He has a game.
Yeah. So y'all take it easy. Much love.
All right, Jacoby.
Bye,
we appreciate
Jacoby.
you. Jacoby, do you have a 1 second gem 1 minute gem you could drop?
Yo, do you? Nah, you got to.
No, I got you.
You gotta have that level of Mike. The thing that separates you from a lot of filmmakers and a lot of these people that are making movies, right? And you got to make a movie. I'm gonna say that every time we come on every Saturday, you need to shoot something. Is that you have a unwaverable confidence in who you are as a filmmaker and a person, and you stand on that. And so what I say to people is, do you have an unwaverable belief in yourself? You might not be there now, but you will.
Right.
And so we have to continue to allow these people to do them and support them and make it happen. Like, one of the things that I sometimes have, and people, is an imposter syndrome, because things have come easy to me early in life. So now that they're difficult, it's like, did I earn this? Whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Because I
Mhm.
forget all the work that I put in, or all the blessings that were given to me.
Amen.
And the hell
Yeah.
with that. I'm Johnny Handsome. I'm Big Kobe, and I'm all them other superlatives that people, or I have called myself, and I'm going to be. And I am a very good cinematographer. I'm a damn good documentarian, and you're going to see later when all my stuff starts to come out. I'm shooting something for someone on June 8th. I'm about to crush it. But I'm
Yes.
going to be focused, be prepared, and I'm going to be ready to rock and roll. And if you're all those other things, like, I don't, like, you see the stuff I talk about HBCUs all the time. People get
Mhm.
tired of me bringing up HBCU stuff sometimes in the circles I'm in. But guess what? That's what I do. And
Yeah.
whose fault is it? Nobody's. So leave me the hell alone. Y'all have a beautiful day. And that was like 360 seconds, but it's going to go.
Got you, brother. Thank you, man.
Bye.
Thank
Have a
you.
good one.
Enjoy. Help you win, man. All right. So, but no, yeah, TK. What
Oh,
you
my
got,
60
sis?
second June?
Well, do you want 6 seconds or you want to continue for a little bit?
Oh,
We still here, y'all. We here with y'all. Um, but okay, so I'm just gonna say this, and Jacoby's right. Like, but for me, the mistake I see is that there's too many people trying to circumvent. I'm a real simple. Content is king. We all know this. And all the pockets that are needed to create the content somehow need to be paid something.
mhm.
You have to value each person. And that is my only issue with some platforms is they I feel like they don't necessarily totally value the fact that they need content. They're looking to leverage on to benefit themselves. And I always say to everybody, I am a win-win mentality person.
Mhm.
I want to win, but I want you to win with me. Because here's what happens when you win with me. I benefit, you benefit. You stick around. It doesn't bother me if you go off and make your own movie or do your own platform or do your own thing. That won't ever bother me because I should expect growth out of everybody. If I'm around people that don't grow, then that's a reflection of who I am as a person. And I'm not growing. So when we're jealous of somebody or we feel that somebody shouldn't be somewhere, everybody should be growing. Anybody in your circle, if your circle doesn't grow, you're not growing. Okay, and your circle should stay with each other. If I'm not a fan of Elon Musk or any of them, but if you pay attention to the PayPal mafia, those jokers grew. They built something and they grew. And they built something else and they grew. And they each feed each other's pockets. That's what we should always be doing. It doesn't have our circle doesn't have to be a huge circle. I always say, hey, you got a circle of 10 people, 10 good friends. If you got 10 friends that can have $1,000, that's $10,000. That's your Tubi movie right there. And if those 10 people can find 10 other people to help fund smaller things or be smaller investors,
Mhm.
that's another growth. And it doesn't need to be any bigger. Sometimes our problem is trying to be too big because sometimes our mistake is we're trying to get large masses because that's what a studio has to do. A studio needs over millions of viewers. A record label needs 1 million albums sold. But an independent, I only need to sell, maybe I only need to sell 1,000 albums at $10. That's $10,000 I ain't never had, especially if I only spent 1,000 to make the album in the first place.
Mhm.
But if I spend 10 grand to make a movie and I'm selling my movie at $10 or $9.99 or what have you, and I get 100,000, or every month I get 10,000 new watchers who are paying, subscribing, or renting, that's upping it. And then I can pay out my people who've invested. And what are your investors going to do? They're going to reinvest in your next project because you've seen lucrative.
Oh, absolutely.
That's why I like a Ryan Coogler, because he came with very little and he's made each project better. So right now they're working on a vampire film, him and Michael B. Jordan.
Mm.
And this is why I say, and again, those guys constantly work together. You can't see Ryan Coogler without Michael B. Jordan. I'm sorry, you're not. And that's a good thing. For a while, I didn't see Spike without Denzel and without Wesley and Sam. Like, he has his crew. And there's other people that Spike keeps too. And that's what I look at when I look at the film industry, is your circle. The problem is too many of us want to promote, and less networking and less building. And in order to really be an effective promoter, it's better to network and build, because you build your street team. When you got a street team, you get in areas that you normally couldn't get into.
Oh, absolutely.
But that's where I am with some of the platforms and stuff, and even filmmakers. They're so busy in one group trying to say, watch my movie, watch my movie, watch my movie, watch my movie. And I want to know what's the percentage of people that have, when you posted that, have watched your actual movie, have spent time going to. You and I just saw a movie on YouTube that over 7 months has over 900,000.
19,000 views in 7 months.
Now,
I cannot wait to check it out.
Now, have this person have a smaller, not a small circle, but a circle of 10. Could they have reached more people a month? And would that 900,000 be could that 900,000 have been 2 months or 3 months rather than 7 months? Mm-hmm. And I don't know this guy, but I don't know how they did anything. I'm just saying that's how I see the world. That's how I see business. Like, I'm like this. If I made an album, I just need to sell 10,000 copies or 50,000 copies. So my necessity is much smaller. And what happens when artists sign record deals and movie deals and stuff, they're giving more to the industry than they're getting back. But if you own most of it, you get more back. But what if I told you, if you got 10,000 people watching a movie at $10, that's $100,000. And that's the same $100,000 that if you sold 1 million for the label, they're going to give it to you anyway. But you sold 1 million. That's what I look at. But go ahead. I'm sorry, TK.
Oh, no. But you know what? The main thing I believe is those who are going to do are going to do. Those who are not going to do, not going to do. We don't have to sit up and convince people, you have something on you, you do, you hear it, you get motivated. Either you're going to do it or not. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, go do the movie, go do it. You're gonna research. You're gonna research. You're gonna find the resources. You're gonna do in time what you need to do, and you're gonna prepare. You're gonna make it happen. And so many times it's like we don't have to convince anybody to do what they've been led to do. Either you're gonna do it or you're not. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I feel about it. But I do want to say, but what I'm going to use as a 60-second gem is so many times that we're people want to reach, we all have the different conversations about everybody trying to, what's your target audience? Oh, everybody. Oh, yeah. It's a relatable story. Everybody relate. But I want to mention the movie Crazy Rich Asians. Okay. The man that used to own a company I used to work for, he was about 45, white, Republican, Trump supporter, middle-aged man, own a company. He was literally, he literally loved Crazy Rich Asians. And to me, that was such a testament of Make the movie that you've been led to do, and the audience that's going to be for it will be for it, and you will have other people that will, like it as well. But stop trying to please everybody. Stop trying to be people
Mm-hmm.
pleasers. Yes, we're in the industry. I understand we're in the entertainment industry. Our job is to please people, but there is a thin line between trying to please everybody and doing what you've been called to do the way you've been called to do it. There is a very thin line. But once, like Jacoby was talking about, being confident in your gifts and being confident in what you're supposed to do,
Mm-hmm.
that's it above everything else for me. Being confident in your gift and being confident in what you're supposed to do, and stop trying to look for so much affirmation everywhere. Yeah, you can say, how can I
Mm.
enhance this? How can I make it better? And I know you guys understand what I'm saying. How to enhance this? How can I make it better? This is what I've been given. This is what I'm doing. Help me make it better. But, oh, you think I should do this? I have so many people that are calling me. Do you think it should be a movie or a play? Do you think it should do this? I said, baby, what were you giving it as? Were you giving it a play? Were you giving it as a movie? Were you giving it as a book? I can't tell you what God gave you what to do with it. And I'm not going to, because that's not my job. If you bring me a story, you tell me what format you want it in. And that's the format we'll put it in. But I am not, my job is to not convince you of how to, something that you've been given. That's like somebody coming to me saying, hey, Jade should be a book. That's not, no, Jade is a movie. And I've already been given the movie and I already know. You know what I mean? You don't
Mhm.
have to come and tell me. And so many times we're looking for people to affirm us in the wrong ways. Exactly, Tom. Just tell the story you've been given.
But what if your
And like I said,
marketing team said, hey, convert it to a book as well? And upon releasing the movie, release the book that readers would read the book and want to go see the movie.
I'm not doing that because I haven't been
But
given a book.
no, I get it. Yeah. So you're saying in your business, hey, that's not what I was given.
Exactly.
And everybody's different. Because to me, I'd be like, yo, we can't convert this to a book, release it, see if it'll raise any money to make the movie. But we're all different. And
Everybody,
yet
yeah,
that
everybody is
advice
different.
comes to the table. Everybody now goes, okay, or I can see this, or I can see that. Because some movies shouldn't be a book, and some movies probably should, depending. And it just varies. But that's a good point that you're bringing up. I'm just saying, as a pocket of a team, of a circle, that's the advice we should be asking, or the questions we should be asking each other to push each other to find the opportunity for one another. The money's just not going to pop out. But if you can come up, like, people can come up with $500 every month and put it into a fund to fund some films, or $250 every month. Something can happen. Every movie doesn't have to cost $1 million or $50,000. There's some you can get away with for 10, 20, 30, but it all depends. And sometimes you may have to cut down the size of your film, which means locations. There's so many movies when we've talked about this on the show, there's so many movies that happen in one location and they're still good. I think I told you about Parallel. 3 characters in the movie most of the time. And it happened in the woods in the house.
That is so brilliant to me. I think one location movies are they're just brilliant. They're brilliant.
And there's a list.
I'm gonna get
There's a
that
list somebody posted in one of the film groups about all the films that had a low budget, like a Blair Witch Project, and how much they made so much money back than what their expenses were. And I always remember Paranormal Activity. Right, Paranormal Activity was originally done for $15,000. It became probably $1 billion franchise because there's been so many Paranormal Activity movies. So I in my brain, we have to think of, that's what we start researching and learning about, what other people's process was, and how we can use the good of their process to help us and take out the bad of their process because it would work for us. And we have to understand that. And I think that's what it is with us as filmmakers. And even within our circles, how can we find the good in something? Just because you may not be into horror films, right, doesn't mean TK won't say, you know what, I'll put 1,000 up to get this horror film made. as a producer. I'm not into it. I'm not gonna watch it, but I trust. I listened to your pitch and saw your pitch deck, and I believe this is possible.
Absolutely.
And that's what I'm saying with us. So you got your 60-second gem. Mine is be strategic, intentional, and authentic, as we always say. And don't look to build the big circle. Build the small circle. And what I mean is you're 10 people, 5 people, 7 people, probably is one of the best sizes, and it helps regulate each other. And you're not in competition with anybody but yourself. We've heard that plenty of times, but in this, people are going to watch movies. They're not saying Spike Lee made this person made this, because Spike made it, I'm not going to watch this. There's people who've watched the Spike film, who've watched the Tyler Perry film, who've watched someone else's film. They're going to watch it because they enjoy what the story's about.
Absolutely.
And on all honesty, unique stories are going to be extremely rare. It's just repackaging, retelling of some stories in a nice gift box and how you put it together. The themes are themes. That's why we study themes in school as reading books and so forth. So when we're trying to sell or put something out there, we just got to be real with ourselves and say, everybody's not going to like what I make. And when you're comfortable with everybody not liking it, the people you need to reach are the ones who are going to like it.
That's exactly. That's what I talked about, that thin line between that people pleasing. Absolutely.
Yeah. So just make your story. That's it.
That's it. Yep.
We appreciate you guys joining us here at the Black Filmmakers Lounge. Saturday morning indie industry shop talk. I'm your host, Michael Melville. My co-host, Tamara TK Henderson, and Jacoby Simmons was here hanging out, but he had to go coach. So, Coach, we hope you win, brother. Just remember that the Black Filmmakers Lounge is where independent filmmakers, where novelists or professionals come together to gain insight and perspective through education, information, networking, and to discuss industry best practices that will advance the Black independent film community. So we hope that you are advancing your community, growing it, and like, subscribe, share. Join our YouTube channel. We're going to be looking at moving into other places and shifting a little bit away from Facebook. To be honest with y'all, we like Facebook, but there's other places that exist, and we want to build that. So we're going to keep doing what we do. We love you guys. Go shoot something, make something, have fun. God bless you guys. And like, subscribe, share. Be strategic, intentional, and authentic.
Like, subscribe, and share. Hey, like, subscribe, and share. Hey, go Lewis. Go Lewis.
All right, we love y'all. We out. Lewis, Jamal, Thomas, Thaddeus,
Derek,
Jalen, Jaden.
Oh my God, I'm sorry. Jaden was on.
Valisha, everybody that was watching, joining us, everybody that normally watches, join us. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Peace.
Bye.